Hi everyone, it's Maha. Thank you for joining me once again here on my channel. So in this video, I'm going to revisit my journey with Kuan Yin. And in this part 2 video, I wanted to share some of the books that have helped me throughout the years of getting to know Kuan Yin, of really understanding her and building my own practice with her. And as well, I wanted to share some resources on mindful self-compassion meditation, which, as I talked about briefly at the end of part 1, is kind of at the core of my practice. It's how I bring Kuan Yin energy to my daily life, in my everyday life. So before I do that, I wanted to just share a little practice with you as well. And I also have a little announcement. Kuan Yin's birthday is coming up. Her birthday is on March the 6th this year. Each year it falls on a different day because it is based on the lunar calendar. So her birthday is the 19th of the second lunar month. Then she also has 2 other celebrations. So she has 3 celebrations, 3 special days a year. And this is such a great way of connecting with Kuan Yin. I highly suggest and invite you, if you can, to just do a little research and see if there's a Buddhist temple anywhere near you that celebrates and honors her days. And if you could go and attend on these 3 days, it's just such an amazing, amazing way of connecting with her. I had the opportunity to go visit the Buddhist temple here in Richmond, BC on Kuan Yin's Enlightenment Day, which was on July 19th in the summertime 2017. I made a video about that. If you haven't already seen it, I'm going to link it in the description menu. It was really amazing. I mean, you probably feel the energy just watching the video. So her Enlightenment Day is the 19th day of the 6th lunar month, and then her Ascension Day is the 19th day of the 9th lunar month. So she has 3 days: her birthday, Enlightenment Day, the day that she became a Bodhisattva, and then her Ascension Day. So that you can mark in your calendars. And I wanted to share just one little practice with you that I do every morning. And I only just started incorporating this into my daily routines recently. Yeah, it was kind of something that took me a long time. And I'll talk about that maybe later, about why maybe that it took me this long to incorporate it in my daily routines. So what I do is I just simply light a tea light candle in a candle holder that I've dedicated to Kuan Yin, which is a green lotus candle holder, and I just light a tea light candle in there in the morning, and I recite the Bodhisattva mantra, or the Bodhisattva prayer, which is, may whatever arises, whatever emotion, whatever thoughts, whatever circumstance, may it serve to awaken the heart. May it serve to awaken compassion, to awaken wisdom. So I recite this beautiful prayer, and I invite Kuan Yin to be with me and to guide me throughout my day as I go through my days, to help me to bring self-compassion, and also to reach it out to whatever circumstances that may come to me throughout the day. And then if I can, I'll sit for a few minutes in front of, just sit before my altar, before my Kuan Yin altar, and just sit there just for a few minutes to kind of center and ground myself, and to kind of maybe recite the prayer over and over. If I have anything to tell her, I might. Sometimes, though, I don't sit. Actually, I should say that I don't really have a strict, rigid rule that I have to meditate every morning. for a while I had a very structured daily routine where I would meditate for 20 minutes, 15 minutes a day and in the evening. And I kind of stopped that now, and I feel okay about stopping it. I think it's wherever you are at in your life, really there's no rules, in my opinion, when it comes to meditation. It's just the whole practice of getting in the habit of coming back to what's important, coming back and revisiting the heart, the center. And so I'm pretty flexible with my sitting time. If I can, I try not to force myself, because that kind of defeats the whole purpose, right? It doesn't make sense for me to be going into self-judgment or criticism, self-criticism for failing to meditate or for missing a few days, because that's not meditation. That's not what meditation is supposed to be for. And so this time, just the willingness to show up, to sit, and just to be with myself, no matter what is going on in my head or inside. Just to be with myself, I think, in itself is an act of dedication to myself. It's an act of service to myself. And it's a way of honoring the goddess energy, the loving, kind, motherly energy of Kuan Yin. And that helps a lot, I think, for me, bringing the aspect of bringing Kuan Yin into my mindful self-compassion practice really helps a lot, as opposed to just not having that guidance or that resource, that source, that available source that's so compassionate, that's so expansive and loving. So it really helps to call in on her energy while I set this intention. And they say, neuroscientists say that our brain cells apparently fire not only upon action, but upon the formation of an intention. So this is really interesting, and I find it to be really true. I just read this recently, but I know that just setting an intention in the morning for me really helps to remember it throughout the day, to just keep coming back to right here, to the heart. So I wanted to share that with you, and now I think I'm going to go and talk about the books. I want to start with the books on Kuan Yin first, and then go and share the resources for mindful self-compassion, which I found very helpful. And I'll probably be doing some editing in between, because a lot of these books are on my Kindle, so I gotta search and find them, because I have about 500 books on this Kindle. But the first book is is an actual book, which is called Bodhisattva of Compassion, The Mystical Tradition of Kuan Yin by John Blofeld. By the way, I'm going to write all the books down in the description menu, so if I don't pronounce the name correctly or something, you can just look it up down there. And this book I found to be really great for really understanding the history of Kuan Yin, understanding the different sects or different branches of Buddhism, because I wasn't really familiar with the different branches of Buddhism and what they were all about. So this book really helped me to think about that. And one thing that actually this book really helped me to think about for the first time was just the fact that in Orthodox Buddhism, we have the presence of the male Buddha, the Gautama Buddha, but really not the feminine aspect of Buddha. Because Buddha, the word Buddha, it's a title. It's not, when we think of Buddha in the West, we think of the man, the male Buddha, Gautama, whose name is Gautama. We think of him, but actually Buddha means the awakened one. So it's a title given to the awakened person, the awakened one. Not the awakened person, but the awakened one. And I think this is very interesting, because I always see everywhere, even on YouTube, things written like Buddha and Kuan Yin. But actually Kuan Yin is Buddha. She's the feminine aspect of Buddha. I have a friend, which I will talk about maybe not in this video, but later on, who I call her my Kuan Yin lady. She's a very wise Chinese woman who she has dedicated herself to the practice of Taoist meditation, and she prays to Kuan Yin, and she calls Kuan Yin Buddha. She never just says Kuan Yin, it's always Kuan Yin Buddha. It's the same energy. To her, it's the same. She explains it as it's the feminine aspect of Buddha. So I thought that was interesting, and this book in particular really brings up those things to think about that maybe in Orthodox Zen Buddhism isn't really brought up, and the kind of the lack of the feminine. And also, it's a great book for understanding the different manifestations of Kuan Yin cross cultures. She has her first origin, the Sanskrit Avalokitesvara is her male form, and from that comes the green Tara, the white Tara in Tibetan Buddhism. I'm not going to go too much into this because, I might say something wrong, and, I haven't really memorized, I'm not paraphrasing. But this is just a great book if you want to really dig into that, to really know the history of Kuan Yin and how she came to kind of travel cross cultures. And I believe they even talk about Mother Mary. That was very interesting. And yeah, I would say it's more of a historical approach. And this man, John Blofeld, has actually gone himself to many countries, to China, and lived there, and met people. And so he talks a lot about his own experiences too, and he gives examples and stories about Kuan Yin. So that was really great. And then I'm going to go into my Kindle. So like I said, I'm going to be probably editing a little bit in this video because I need to switch back and forth between my Kindle books. And now we're going to the Kindle books. And this is a really lovely book. It's called Kuan Yin Chronicles, The Myths and Prophecies of the Goddess of Compassion. And it's by Martin Palmer and Jay Ramsey. It's beautifully written. I think I'm going to get this book in hard copy because it is really worth it. Sometimes when I love a book, I have to get it in hard copy as well. And there's another reason why I want to get this in hard copy, which I'm going to talk about in a minute. So I want to just read the table of contents here. So it has part 1, the history and origins of Kuan Yin. Part 2 is the myths and legends of Kuan Yin. This is great because it gives you the history, like a really, really great history. And I love the myths and the legends because that's to me, the creative parts where you can really visualize and imagine. There are no images in this book. In the other one that I talked about, there are some art images, actually. I don't know if I got this book secondhand. I don't know if it's in print anymore. But the Kuan Yin Chronicles, part 3. The poems of Kuan Yin. Now, this is really nice. This is the oracle of Kuan Yin. So the Chinese oracle tradition of Kuan Yin, the oracle of Kuan Yin, is done with sticks. So you have numbers on sticks, and you pull the stick, and each number refers to a poem. I believe there are 100. Yes, there are 100. And so each poem is supposed to be your guidance or advice for whatever question you may have. And actually, when I visited the Kuan Yin, the Buddhist temple, at the entrance, they had these sticks that you could pull and get your oracle. So that was neat. So in this book, it's if you get the hard copy, then you have a section where you have these little circles, and you can cut them out, and they each have numbers. So you can use those circles sort of like, I guess, like ruins, or, you can just draw. So instead of stick, you just draw these circles, bits of paper. If you want, you can stick them on pieces of wood. You can be creative that way. I think I might do that, and if I do, I'll make a video about that. So part 3, you have an introduction by Martin Palmer, and you have one by J. Ramsey, so by the 2 authors. And this is just such a beautifully written book. I know I've said that already once, but it's like reading poetry. It's just written, the language that is written is so beautiful. I want to read you some of it, but I know that I want to read you a lot of it, and I don't want to make this video too long. But maybe at the end I will. And then using the poems as divination, and it talks about that. There is a section here where I think it's using the poems as divination, where actually he makes parallels to tarot, and I thought that was really cool, because I love tarot. Kuan Yin, the quatrains. So then you have the poems, the 100 poems. This is a great book. And then the next book is by Daniela Schenker, and it's called Kuan Yin, Accessing the Power of the Divine Feminine. This book is really great also if you wanted to get it in hard copy, because it has beautiful color imagery, like one-page plates, like prints that you can contemplate on and meditate on. And there's poems that go with each image. I believe there are 33, and that's Kuan Yin's number is 33, which is interesting because it's also Pluto's number. So there are meditations in this book. I believe, to me, this book was very practical in sort of guiding you to build your own practice. She talks about building an altar, doing visualizations, meditations. She also talks about some of the myths and stories or folklore behind Kuan Yin. So I really enjoyed these 3 books. And then I have another book called Becoming Kuan Yin by Stephen Levine. I believe it's pronounced Levine. And I really enjoyed this book. I haven't finished it yet. I'm still in the middle of it. It's, I would say, if you're familiar with the writing style of Tara Brach, it's kind of similar tone. It's beautifully written, it's very gentle, it's very loving, and there is that element of mindfulness in there. So he does go into the history and the myths of Kuan Yin, but then he has his own take on them, and he, in sort of the middle of the book, he gets really deeply into compassion and how to bring Kuan Yin energy in your daily life. And I think this book actually leads us very well to the next set of resources that I have on mindful self-compassion. And there is a section in here that's called Working with Pain. I think I want to read you, I have underlined a lot in this book, but I want to read you just a little section just to give you a glimpse of how beautiful the writing is. And this book helped me in the self-compassion practice and also working with pain. It's a really great book for those of you who might be, well, we all at some point have to go through some kind of pain, whether it's mental, emotional, or physical, right? So this book is really great in teaching you to befriend the pain and bring compassion to it. So I'm going to read you. So the full title is Becoming Kuan Yin, The Evolution of Compassion. Softening is a physical trigger for the mental state of letting go. I love that. We cultivate this softening in the belly, in the moment-to-moment letting go of what hinders the heart. When fear, pride, or doubt, aversion, or anger, reflections of a lifetime of holding, arise in a merciful consciousness, it mindfully and heartfully watches these afflictive thoughts dissipate into the eternity from which they came. The next time you stub your toe, instead of sending the habitual aversion that so mimics hatred into the already agitated sensations, consider love. As the pain is cut loose from its habitual moorings, this opening around pain has been shown to increase the flow of the immune system to the affected area. Because we are conditioned to send hatred into our pain, when we let go of our negative attachment to what ails us, this compulsive resistance, and instead send love where it was never considered possible, we turn the tables on our loathing. Healing is to reoccupy those parts of ourselves abandoned to pain, to enter with mercy and awareness those areas withdrawn from in fear. Working with our pain is an act of compassion to others as well, allowing us to stay a bit longer at the bedside of one frightened or agonized by birth and dying, allowing us to keep our heart open in hell. This, by the way, I have to interject, this is so Pluto. Pluto is that accepting, that point in our lives when we just, we're in the underworld, like Inanna, her descent, and she had to shed everything. And finally, she was just like a piece of flesh just hanging there. She had to shed it all. And when we hit that rock bottom, where really there's nothing else to do but just to let go, that's when we can open our hearts in hell and really access healing, which is also the essence of Pluto. Transformation. When the compassion we send into our pain begins to include others experiencing this same pain at the same time, a reversal of fortune occurs as we experience not just our pain, but the pain, the shared pain that inhabits the common body. No longer your problem alone, the pain we all share creates a community of interbeing and healing. My pain is a tragedy. The pain is a further teaching in compassion. When we meet pain with mercy, we serve a world of suffering. I had to read you that one because I thought it's very powerful, this book. Just, I feel like I'm flushed now. So now let's go to the quick, just a couple of other things on self-compassion. So I started the path of mindful self-compassion a while ago when I was experiencing some really difficult times in my life, dealing with pain, dealing with anxiety and all that. And I found Kristen Neff, who is an author, a psychologist, and she has done this CD that I bought, which is a 5 CD self-compassion step-by-step, the proven power of being kind to yourself. This is a CD that I actually paid quite a lot for. I think it was like $50 at least. But it's a great way of, if you are someone who likes to listen to meditations as opposed to reading them, it's a really great book to kind of guide you step by step. She talks you through everything, and then she gives you examples, and then you have meditations, and you can take your time with it, and for me, if you're like me, I have so many books to read that sometimes I just rather listen to things, and because her voice is just so soothing, it really kind of, it makes sense. It really goes with the theme, of being kind to yourself, and then her voice is really kind, so it kind of works for me. There are some videos on YouTube of hers that you can also check out if you like. That also helps. And there is another man that I really learned a lot from, who is Christopher Germer, and I think they work together. In fact, I should mention that there is a community that they've started. I believe Kristen Neff and Christopher Germer have started online, which is a great online community of mindful self-compassion practice, so you can practice with others. I haven't done it yet, but I have been thinking about doing it, so let me know if that's something you're thinking of doing. Maybe we can do that together. I don't know. I'm still thinking about it because it really helps sometimes to have others, sharing these experiences, and the online community really works for some people. Yeah, so my last book, so any books by Kristen Neff, I highly recommend. I also like listening to Pema Chodron. She's really great. She does a lot of books on loving kindness. Not a lot, but there are some books. I think one is called The Places That Scare You. I haven't read it yet, but I have read some of her other pieces and listened to her all the time on YouTube. She's excellent. So this book is a really great book. This is my go-to book by Christopher Germer, and it's called The Mindful Path to Self-Compassion, Freeing Yourself from Destructive Thoughts and Emotions. And this was just the best book I have found on the mindful path of self-compassion. So really, I mean, in my opinion, you don't need a lot of resources as long as you find a few good ones, and those are all the ones that I came across that really helped me. This book is just written with so much compassion. It's just, the language is so loving. It's really inviting. It really invites you to sit there and contemplate. Sometimes I find with certain meditation or mindfulness books, it's a little too dry for me, and it's lacking the heart center. Whereas with this book, it was just really, really so beautifully written, so gentle, so loving. So I think that's all. And it looks like there's going to be a part 3 to this series, everybody, because I wanted to talk about my story with Kuan Yin and how I discovered her, how she came to me. But I also wanted to take my time with this and with everything that I wanted to tell you about the resources. So that's going to be for a future video, and I'm probably not going to post it right after this one. I will probably take a little bit of a break from this series. I want to do some tarot stuff, but I will be doing an update video, kind of tell you where I'm going to be going on my channel. So I hope you enjoyed this time with me. Thank you for being here, and as always, I'm sending you so much love and many blessings. Take care.